Good morning. I'm Donna. Welcome to Plugged Into Long Island. And my guest in the studio today is Terrie Magro from the Michael Magro Foundation. Good morning, Terrie.
Good morning, Donna.
It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Tell me about Michael Magro and the foundation.
So Michael was my oldest son. He was born in 1990, and he great. Just a fantastic kid, never sick a day in his life. Ends up in 2004 with what we thought was pneumonia, turned out to be leukemia.
Oh, my God.
And he was diagnosed officially, got sick Memorial Day weekend, diagnosed June 8th, and actually passed away July 30th, a few short weeks later.
Oh, my God.
So it was quite a crazy couple of months, to say the least. But to add to the story and make it even a little bit more crazy, my son Mark, who was born in 1993, they were 28 months apart. At that time, they were 11 and 13. Mark, when he was a day before his 11th birthday, he comes to me and says, "I feel something on my neck. I don't know what's going on." We bring him to the doctor. We're testing it, giving him antibiotics. Thought he had just some cyst of some sort that we would be able to take care of, and they diagnosed him with Hodgkin's.
Oh, my God. Now, this is when Michael
was healthy at that point.
Okay.
Mark was diagnosed first in March, day before his 11th birthday. So he was at the Cancer Center for Kids at Winthrop University Hospital, which is now NYU Winthrop University Hospital, at the Cancer Center for Kids. And he was in the middle of treatment when Michael had presented what appeared to be pneumonia. Mm-hmm. So at the same time, Donna, we had the two of them in cancer treatment.
Oh, my God.
At the hospital. It was insane, to say the very least. My husband, Paul, had a Excel spreadsheet, literally, that we were tracking appointments, medications. Mm-hmm. My clinical background is as a registered nurse. So I was actually—
Thank goodness for that, at least.
Yeah, it was good and it was bad, because I knew a little bit too much and I didn't know enough. Yeah. And so it was kind of like crazy in the middle, but you knew enough that I knew I was in trouble. And I knew when Michael wasn't progressing at the rate that they wanted and was getting scarier and scarier. Michael, unfortunately, spent an awful lot of time in the hospital. So it was kind of hard. Mark had finished his very last radiation treatment, and Michael was put on a ventilator because he was having way too much trouble breathing the day before that. And then Michael was put on a vent on a Sunday and passed away that following Friday. Oh, and God. Mark, the poor kid, had just finished treatment. You should be excited and celebrating. And meanwhile, we were like in a state of total disbelief. So from that journey that we walked for a few months, Paul and I really learned a lot about how cancer knows no boundaries. Yeah. And really doesn't matter if you make $50,000 a year or $500,000 a year. If it's going to hit you, it hits hard. Yeah. It hits hard because you can't have them in treatment and be working at the same time. Yeah. Now we have bills and no income.
Wow. Well, first of all, let me extend my sincere condolences.
Oh, thanks, thank you.
And I can't even imagine what you went through with two children with cancer at the same time. How is Mark now?
Mark is fantastic. He's 24. He has had no further issues at all. All of his scans are all finished, and he is in the general population, so to speak, because he's cancer-free for greater than 5 years. So he's doing well. Mm-hmm. But that's when we decided that we had to do something. One, to keep Michael's name alive, and two, to just honor the life of these heroes, because they really are heroes. All of these kids that come through this treatment it's unbelievable. It's hard enough for an adult, and that's my world and what I was familiar with, being a medical surgical nurse for adults. But when you see it with the children, it just devastates you, and the whole family unit is torn inside out. And that's why we started this foundation, to really help the families directly. So that's where our funding monies that we raise go.
MichaelMagroFoundation.com, Long Island. Michael Magro Foundation, Magro Foundation.com.
Correct.
And when did you start? Michael passed away in 2004.
And we actually incorporated in 2005.
Wow, you really got to work quick.
We did get to work quick, and I think it was actually my therapy.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
It truly was, because I was just lost, and I knew I had to do something, and I tried some of those family groups, support groups,
sure,
and that wasn't really working for me. So Paul and I decided we were just going to do something that was going to be positive and keep a positive outlook, because I really didn't want to fall into the trap of just staying at home and being a recluse and drinking and eating and just like running away from it and self-medicating, right? So that's not me at all. I'm very outgoing. I do a lot of networking. Again, I'm in the medical field, so I knew that something had to be done. Yeah. Something had to be done.
Yeah. And do you feel like your connections in the medical field have helped you with the foundation? Because I see you've been in 12 years pretty fabulously successful. How much money have you raised in 12 years?
We've raised $1.5 million.
Wow.
And we're growing every year, which really is fantastic. So the medical side of it, not so much. More of the networking. I'm actually in the marketing department at Winthrop Hospital right now, but I've been for 20 some odd years in sales. So with sales, you do a lot of networking and a lot of outreach, and those contacts have been unbelievable. People are just wonderful, Donna. It's amazing how people help people you never expect.
Right. People want to help.
They want to help.
And it's really wonderful. The MichaelMagroFoundation.com. The logo is a bird with a lacrosse stick.
A penguin.
A penguin. I thought it was a penguin. I wasn't sure. And that came from...
So that was kind of cute. Michael loved penguins. For some reason, this kid had a great attraction to penguins. And he played lacrosse. That was his life. He was 13 years old, 7th grade. Loved school, but loved lacrosse. And he knew he had to go to school to play lacrosse. His number was 33. He was in Hicksville Middle School lacrosse. So we made the logo with the penguin, with the lacrosse stick, and the number 33. And what we do with it is kind of fun, because every event we have, we do a soccer event, a basketball event, a volleyball event, a chef's event, and we just keep changing the penguin around.
And I want to talk to you about your evening of tasting and giving, but I'd like to talk, if you don't mind, a little bit more about the foundation first. What are some of the programs you offer?
So we started raising money direct to go to families. So my biggest thing was to help families offset their medical expenses and pay their bills, because a lot goes between the cracks. So medical insurance covers a lot, but the deductibles are very high, especially these days, and the out-of-pocket is outrageous. Some people are paying over $5,000 before or greater before their insurance even kicks in. So we help to offset some of those things. We pay pharmacy bills. If somebody has a PSEG or a car insurance bill or something, they'll send us those bills and we pay those direct. Those referrals come to us through the clinical people at the hospital, the social workers at the Cancer Center for Kids. Also, we're very connected to Stony Brook University Hospital's pediatric oncology. So we get a lot of referrals from there. And we just recently expanded to a hospital, part of the Lee Health System, Golisano Children's Hospital. It's Barbara's Friends in Naples, Florida, in Southwest Florida. So we're starting to help some hospitals there as well. The website has expanded us so that we get calls from all over, and we'll vet those people and make sure that everything is up front. But this hospital, actually, we went to visit and we did a fundraiser for. So it's been kind of exciting that we're able to really branch, and that's due to 2 board members that have businesses both in New York and in Naples, Florida. So it's kind of fun. That was a fun event.
That's wonderful. And do you have corporations supporting them?
We do. We have some corporations. Sienna Wealth Management has been fantastic. Joe DeSena and his entire group from Ameriprise have been great. We have a few other corporations, partners. Macy's, one of my board members from Macy's, one of my board members works for LinkedIn. So we've been very, very fortunate with that, as well as lots and lots of volunteers and people that have supported us from the grassroots, which is really, I think, slow and steady wins the race.
Sure.
And that's kind of been our mentality. Sure. So we've grown slowly and really kept a good eye on everything. Every board member is a volunteer, so there's no paid employees. Our overhead is low. We work with a lot of in-kind donations. So it works.
You know, and I saw that on your website. What is an in-kind donation?
Well, for example, right near us here in Babylon Deer Park Avenue area is RIT Printing. Fantastic, Anthony Bono and his group. He donates a lot of his printing and his graphic design work for us. So that's an in-kind donor. Okay. So a lot of that, my florist, Black Dahlia, donates all the flowers for different events. That's an in-kind donor. So people are extremely, extremely generous, and they want to do what they love, and they want to be able to give that because that makes everybody feel really, really good. Right. And Paul and I really have embraced the board to enter into a fundraiser and run it. So our car show, which is the next one that's coming up, is a very fun event at Barry Tech BOCES.
Where is Barry Tech BOCES?
It's in Westbury. It's a high school program it's a trade school, a high school program, and that's where Paul teaches. My husband's a chef, and he teaches culinary arts at Barry Tech. So they have been so generous over the years. Every year they've allowed us to have the car show and car wash on their property, which is great. And all the students get involved. I love to have the young people involved. All of the millenniums, I try and gather them all, and younger. What is it, Generation X, Y, Z? We just keep going through the alphabet. But it's really a lot of fun, and they love it. Yeah. So the whole automotive department, they're the ones that actually run the show on the property. And one of my board members, Tom Galati, who works for LinkedIn, has been very, very instrumental in bringing that from an event that raised $5,000 to now raising $14,000,
wow,
which is fabulous.
That really is.
So we depend on the people donating their cars. This year, Allstate is our event sponsor for the show. So we have sponsors, as many sponsors as we can get. We try and get for each event, and it really helps.
I'll bet it does. So the car show is when now? It's
Saturday, June 3rd,
okay.
And Barry Tech is on Prospect Avenue in Westbury. Okay. So we have lots and lots of cars, motorcycles, you name it. They're all there.
The classic cars.
The classic cars,
I love
exactly.
The classic cars.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you can find the events on michaelmagrofoundation.com.
Yep, right on the website. There's event pages. There's on the home page, everything is on there. So it's very well laid out.
And you mentioned that there are no paid employees, which brings me to what is your Charity Navigator rating? I think that's something that people are very curious about these days. If they're giving to a cause that they believe in or they think they might want to get involved in, they want to know how much of their dollar is going toward programs.
And I agree, and I tell that to everybody, that is the one thing that they need to look at before they donate to any charity, whether it be ours or anybody else's. So we have almost 90 cents on a dollar goes back to the foundation. Wow. So we're very, very fortunate. You know, there are certain fixed expenses, and that's some of the marketing expenses, the web design, the back end of the web design, insurance. We have to have liability insurance. We have to have event insurance. So those are the types of things, postage and paper, so it's little things, but those things add up.
Sure,
absolutely. They add up. But the tasting event, which is in October that you mentioned.
An evening of tasting and giving. And, I saw that one of the scholarships is a scholarship for a culinary student. Yeah. And I thought to myself, somebody's involved in food here. And now you tell me that your husband teaches the culinary program at Barry Tech?
At Barry Tech. Okay. At Barry Tech, yeah.
So the evening of tasting and giving is a big, big event. Tell us about that.
That's our signature event. So it's the first Monday of October, and it's at the Carlton at Eisenhower Park. So this year it's Monday, October 2nd. And we bring about 20 25 to 30 restaurants, another 10 bakeries, and then an assortment of wine and beer and alcohol vendors. And they all, Donna, they all donate their time and their product. They are so fantastic. And it's not an expensive event. It's $90 price point. We have outrageous raffles. They're unbelievable. We do live auctions. We have some music. It's really a lot of fun, and it's truly a networking event. I'm not a fan necessarily of all of those sit-down dinners where you're sitting and listening to a lot of speeches. We do bring the group together, and we do speak about the mission and why we're there and the fact that we raise money to help the families of children diagnosed with cancer. But I want people to embrace it. I want it to be a high-energy event, and we've managed to do that. So we have now seen between 650 and 700 people at the event, and it's our 13th year. So to be able to sustain those numbers and watch them grow is a testimonial to all of us on the board. Right. So, it's truly a team effort. And those restaurants, we've had some restaurants that started with us, and they're still with us, which is fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It's so much fun. You have to come.
I will. October
2nd. 6 o'clock.
MichaelMagroFoundation.com. Tell us about some more of your programs other than the...
So the programs, we have our signature program is a school reentry program called Project SOAR. And we actually started that program in 2008 when speaking with the clinical staff and the psychology psychologist that was on staff and the child life specialist and all of these people that were involved.
Staff at
Winthrop. These children, Dr. Weinblatt likes them to keep whatever piece of normalcy they can in their life. Sure. So if their numbers are good and their blood counts are good, he would like them to go to school. So now they're going to school, and who's more nervous about them being in school? The teachers, the classroom teacher, the principal. Sure. So we kind of learned quickly that that was an education opportunity. So Project SOAR is basically sending in the child life specialist, who I'll talk about in a moment, the clinical staff, the social workers, to speak directly to the classroom teachers, the gym teacher, the principal, the students.
I was going to say, are the students involved in this as well?
Yeah,
they would
definitely,
have to be.
Definitely. And the child themselves that has cancer, so that they can kind of relate it, because all the child wants is to be back in the game, so to speak, and back in the classroom.
Just a kid again.
Just make me a kid again, right. I know I have to have all this other treatment, but I want to have fun too. And once they learn what the treatment course is all about at the school, they feel a lot more comfortable.
Sure.
And the gym teacher doesn't get nervous having them participate in a sport. Right. And that's what they want to do. And I tell you, it's been a great learning experience as the years have gone on, because at the school, they see a lot. And they can report back to the staff at the Cancer Center for Kids and say, I've noticed that Johnny is falling asleep a lot more. He's his color doesn't look as great. I know he said he hasn't been to the center in a week. He doesn't have any treatment going on. So they alert us at the same time.
They're partners
we're partners.
Exactly.
Exactly. So it's a great communication, and that makes everybody feel more comfortable. And that's an alert, and then we can reach out, and that's exactly what happens. So we've been able to give it another dimension, and we have a neuropsychologist on staff at the Cancer Center, which is a grant-written position, and the foundation underwrites the testing that goes on. So it's a neuropsych testing, and neuropsych testing is not covered by insurance, so it could cost $3,000 or more out of pocket, which nobody really wants to do. So chemotherapy, you have to remember, is a drug that cures, but it also hurts at the same time. So we don't want to say it's a poison, because it's a cure at the same time. Sure. But it gets into their system, and it can play games. And so you don't really know what's going on. So if they can do a little bit of a testing prior to the starting of chemo and see if there's any deficits going on or if there's any issues with the child, then as they're going through chemo, continue to do that. It's been really very educational for everybody, because they can adjust the medication treatment course accordingly. And so protocols are written for each treatment, so you don't vary things that much, but at least they can be aware.
Sure.
And they can let everybody know. The parents will understand a little bit better. The child will understand a little bit better. So it's been a great resource. And that program started in 2008. We've written quite a few grants. Macy's, Ameriprise Financial have been very generous. Each of those companies has probably given us about $30,000 each.
Wow.
Program cost about $25,000 a year to run. And that's partially salaries and then all of the testing equipment and everything that goes into keeping that program afloat. But it's ongoing because these children, it's not a one-time visit. They can be back and forth to the school. There's a lot of telephone conversations that go back and forth. And then the treatment course can go on for leukemia, for instance, between 2 and 3 years. So that child is going maybe from one school to another, certainly from one grade to another, and then different teachers, different students, et cetera. So there's lots of repeat visits that go into it. So it's not just a one-shot deal. But the outcomes have been fantastic, and it's a program we're very, very proud of, Project SOAR.
If you're just joining us, I'm talking with Terrie Magro from the Michael Magro Foundation, michaelmagrofoundation.com. Terrie's son, Michael, passed away from leukemia. He was 13 years old. He was diagnosed and gone within a matter of weeks. And Terrie has channeled her energy in the wake of his death in building up the Michael Magro Foundation, but not only to help kids with cancer, to help families who are dealing with other kinds of childhood illnesses as well, correct?
Correct. So again, as you walk the journey, you learn a little bit more and more. And so we've expanded to other chronic pediatric illnesses and some diabetes, chronic respiratory issues. There's a lot. And those diseases also, and those diagnoses also impact the family tremendously. So we've reached out to those families as well. Sometimes it's the secondary or latent effect of the treatment, of the cancer treatment, that causes other problems, and that's kind of how we backed into it a little bit.
Right.
But they don't necessarily always have to have cancer for us to help them, but they have to have a pediatric diagnosis. That's where our mission statement is.
Right.
So if they're older, we're not really helping them.
Right. How do you identify the families that need help? Do families come to you? Are they recommended through the hospitals?
They're recommended primarily through the hospitals, the social workers, the clinical staff, but we do get a lot off the website. So when we do get a referral direct, a parent or a grandparent that calls that says the family is in need of some financial assistance, then we reach out to the family to find out where the treatment is being provided, and then we contact the treatment facility, and then we'll work with the social worker from that facility. Lots of recommendations do come through friends and family and neighbors and people of that nature. Somebody in the school, they know somebody. So it's those are unfortunately too many, but we're here to help as many as we can. So we will pay bills direct. We have a whole gift card program that we started. It's like Life Essential program.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And that's a fun program. We started that buying $50 gift cards to grocery stores and gas stations and some Targets and Toys R Us and some of those types of stores to just help the families, be able to put food on the table and not worry that particular night. And some of the larger stores, they can buy diapers if they need to. They can buy food. They can buy clothes. They can get prescriptions. We have, a variety of things that will allow from that, to take place. So that's good. We buy about $2,500 to $3,000 worth of gift cards a month, and those are distributed through the staff. So I bring them to the centers, and they distribute them.
Do you work for the foundation full time now?
Sounds like it, right?
It does, but I don't think you do you?
I don't. Again, it's non-paying, so that mortgage has to get paid on my end, too. I work for NYU Winthrop University Hospital. Okay. I'm in their marketing department. Okay. So I have the availability and the really just being very fortunate to be able to market for the hospital, which is fantastic, as well as for the because I work with pediatricians, so I work and be able to market for the foundation at the same time.
That's great.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Long Islanders are probably thinking at this moment, how can I help the foundation?
Could always use help. There's a donate page, a donate button.
MichaelMagroFoundation.com.
So they can always go on. That's great. We're always looking for people to help with raffle items. If people are willing to donate gift cards to some of the general stores like the Walmarts and the Targets, Visa gift cards, things like that, those are always great, and we give those to the families. We do something called Small Wishes, and Small Wishes came from an idea that we had. Make-A-Wish is a phenomenal organization, and Mark was a recipient of a Make-A-Wish, so I'm extremely grateful to them. But if you're under 3 or over 18, you fall out of the parameters for them. So children that are under 3 or over 18 that are still being treated come off and they would like a wish, then we're providing some of those wishes. So some of those things are fantastic. The wishes that we can provide are minute by comparison to Make-A-Wish, but we'll do a $500 or $1,000 donation. So people can donate for something specific like that if they want to work with us. We will help families stay at the Ronald McDonald House, so monies can go towards that if they would like that. Sponsoring an event is always great. We do about 6 or 7 fundraisers a year, and we're always looking for sponsors for an event. Corporate, bringing people to an event, raising awareness, letting them know that we're here, and we're willing to go and speak to anybody.
What about the volunteer opportunities?
Well, volunteer opportunities, they can email me, mmagrofoundation@yahoo.com. You can email me directly and tell me what your interests are. Some people are great at designing things. Some people are great at coming up with a new idea, and they're willing to pull together something. That's great. Networking opportunities we reach out to all the time. I know we were speaking earlier about BOOM.
Yeah, BOOM B2B Expo. How is that benefiting the Magro Foundation?
Very interesting. BOOM Business Network started a couple of years ago. Frank Gargano is an elder care attorney on Long Island, and a group of people that he came together with that he wanted to start a networking group that was a little bit different than some of the others because there are a lot out there. And he has successfully grown this group to hundreds and hundreds of people with satellites all over Long Island. And he is running a business expo on Thursday, April 27th at the Huntington Hilton. And I'm on the board with BOOM, so Frank and I had discussed bringing charities into the event. So if you go to listen to someone in one of the rooms, there's 9 breakout rooms, there's 100 exhibitors and 50 speakers. The money is going directly to a charity. So the charity that I'm associated with is in the legal room. So if you want to hear one of the attorneys speaking in room 1, you go online at boombiznet.com and you register. The exhibit itself, the expo, is free, but the charge is when you go to listen to a speaker. And we actually want maybe 1 or 2 speakers for people to listen to and then go and walk the floor and really get to know the businesses. So every one of those 9 rooms is connected to a different charity, which I thought was just an ingenious idea.
Very clever.
Very clever. And it's all about giving back. That's what Frank's idea was. And it really works. And it brings a lot of people together on both the proprietary and the nonprofit side of this world. So it's absolutely fantastic. It's a show not to be missed. So it's Thursday, April 27th at the Huntington Hilton BOOM B2B Expo. So I hope everybody can attend. It's all professionals.
I'm so sorry that we are out of time. The evening of tasting and giving the big Michael Magro Foundation fundraiser is on Monday, October 2nd. You can get all the details on michaelmagrofoundation.com. We could talk all morning, but we're out of time. Terrie Magro.
Thank you, Donna, so much.
You are an inspiration, a woman who lost a child to cancer so suddenly, has turned her grief into action, helping families all over Long Island and beyond. Thank you, Terrie.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.